Hey everyone, it's Foxx from modelmaking.guru here. Hello, and welcome to episode and issue 2 of my build of the Fanhome Fast and Furious Dodge Charger RT. Oh, just rub it. Just look at that face. It's like aggressive and huggable at the same time. It's just moist making. It really is. Such an amazing car. Anyway, yes, welcome to episode and issue 2. In this episode, we'll be building a wheel and a steering wheel. But before we get going, I do need to, of course, explain that this part work is being provided to me free of charge by Fanhome. They very kindly offered to send it to me so I could build and film it. So a massive thank you to the guys at Fanhome. If you don't know who Fanhome is, here's a quick idea. So there you go check them out. It's a massive thank you to the guys at Fanhome. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the magazine and then we'll crack on with the build. So, as always, we start off with some fluff and background lore. And in this case, we're actually talking about the background of the Dodge Charger specifically. Wow, hang on, wait there. Emergency coffee ration. Oh. This is why I have the shaky hands when I'm trying to do the screwing, and I'm like, oh, I can't get the screw in the hole because I drink like a litre of coffee before I film. I should really not do that. Yeah, so we're looking at the Dodge Charger, the history of it. Look at that. There's something about, I don't know what it is, like 60s and 70s American muscle cars. The shapes, the curves, the Coke bottle lines. We just never did this in the UK. The nearest we ever got was the Mark III Cortina, which I think is an awesome looking car, but it still had a certain Britishness to it. And then, you can see where they went with the Mark IV. That was where the real Britishness came through. We just kind of aberrated with the Mark III, but that's the closest we ever got. If I could own a Mark III Cortina today, factory fresh, mint condition, restored, I would, because it'd be a lot cheaper than getting one of these. But if I could have one of these. Like I said before, the Dodge Charger is my absolute all-time favourite muscle car while I'm building this part work. Normally, I'd say it's the Plymouth 440 Hemi Cuda, and I really hope, because I'm doing it from memory and I don't know cars, I really hope I've got that right. It is the Plymouth 440 Hemi Cuda, I think. Lime green, black bumblebee stripes. Although I do have a soft spot for the GTO Judge as well, I've got to be honest. But yeah, at the moment, while I'm building this is my favourite. And then we have the buildy part. In this one, like I said, we're doing an wheel and steering wheel. Hopefully this won't be as much of a mess as the last episode, which went on forever and was full of all nonsense because I didn't know what I was doing. And whenever I start a new part work, I get a bit fumbly because there's a certain feel to part works. They all have their own sort of little personality, and it takes you a few episodes and a few issues, I should say. I'm going to mix the words episode and issue up every time. You just get used to that now. I'm going to do it every time. It takes you a few issues to get into the flow of the build. And for this, it's kind of nice. So that last episode was a bit train wrecky, but never mind. So we're building the steering wheel and the column, and we're building an wheel. And then at the end, we've just got a little bit of an article on muscle and pony cars, the kings of tuning. Look at that. It's beautiful. Now, like I say, when I did some detailing, we did do some work on classic old hot rods. Worked on a few massive old, what did we do? We did an Oldsmobile, like a 1949 Oldsmobile, I think. Stripped all the paint off that. But yeah, there's something to be said. I know I like the 60s and 70s, but going back even further, these kind of classic cars, this is just a Milky Way advert. I've just got the red car and the blue car in my head now. The red car and the blue car had a race, and all Red wants to do is stuff his face. He eats everything he sees, from trucks to prickly trees. But good old Blue, he took the Milky Way. That's in your head now. Yes, and look at that. Dodge Charger. That's 1968 Dodge Charger. You can tell by the grille. It's like as long as a house. It's like you could have an entire. If this was a British car, there'd be an entire car under there. You could get another car in there. Yeah, we didn't have the idea really. We didn't swing it. We just didn't do it. Anyway, there we go. That is issue 2. We've had a look. Let's go and get the bits, get the mat out, the fluffy towels, and let's crack on. Okay, so in issue 2 we get the parts for the steering wheel and the wheel. Now I can't tell you, first of all, how heavy this is. This is going to make the microphone ring, but ready? That's solid. It's not squishy rubber, although it is some kind of rubber. It's solid and it weighs a ton and it smells. I can't explain the smell, but if you go into a shop that sells like car parts, you know, like you walk into one of these shops and they've got, when you need to go and buy a new gasket or something like that, and you got all these car parts, it smells like that. It smells like a hardware store. It's a pleasing yet slightly disturbing smell. I like it. So that's the tyre. It's even got all the right writing and stuff on there. It's a Continental tyre, so we've got all the bits there. But we are starting, of course, with the steering wheel. Now, as always, I've got the screws separated out. We've got a few more today. We've got some BM, some CM, and some HM screws. So they're all metal-to-metal screws. And because we're putting screws into metal, I've got my little pot of oil. Typical standard 3-in-1 oil. I've emptied some of it out because it was a bit overfull. And that's just to make sure that the screws go in quite nicely. Now also, you'll see I've not got the floofy towels out today, because aside from the shiny chrome wheels, we're not really going to have anything contacting the surface here, so we don't need to worry about the towels. So let's crack on. The first thing we need to do is get the steering wheel assembly done, and for this we're going to need some screwage. I'll put that over there. Oh, one other thing I meant to say, by the way, if you've watched my X-Wing builds, you'll know that I tell you about the clamshell packaging and how to make sure that things don't get left behind. These clamshells that come with these parts are really quite stiff and tough to get out, so you will ping them out. So whenever you get one of these packs open, just make sure there's nothing left on the top clamshell part by static cling. Because sometimes you do get little bits like these, and they're in little bags, but occasionally you'll get things like that, and they may just suddenly escape and get left in the plastic clamshell, so just take care of that. Okay, so let's do some buildy. So first thing we need to do is we need to get the screws ready. So we're going to need 4 BM screws. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to get 4 out. Oh, we only actually have, oh no, we have 5. There we go. So 4 BM screws. My oil ready there, which you can just about see on camera. And what we need to do is we need to read the magazine. So we have the wheel here, which is going to be this way around. We need to insert, I can't see because I've got my lenses on. The wheel spokes need to go thusly. This is all metal parts, these. It's quite nice and weighty. So that's going to sit like that. This bit here for the steering column. That's going to sit in there. That actually sits in there quite nicely by itself. We need to put in the 4 BM or BM screws. Oh, oil. We'll get there. A tiny touch of oil. Just the tiniest amount, just to make it easier. The idea is that because you're screwing a screw into metal, if it's in any way a very tight fit or you misalign the screw or anything like that, you don't want to be forcing a screw into the hole in case it shears the thread or you shred the screw or something else. Also, you don't want to be forcing a screw into a metal screw hole too forcefully, because you might also just, like, you know, shred the head of the screw, knackering either the screw head, which means you can never get it out again, which is a major pain in the bum, or even your screwdriver. You know, your screwdriver head or bit, if it's got, like mine, replaceable bits. So a little bit of oil just means it's easier to get your screws going into where they need to go. Reduces the risk of threading the screws or knackering your screwdriver head. And I have to say, it smells fantastic. I haven't really smelled oil since I was like a kid. You know, when we used to have like my brother had a Hornby train set and used to take them apart, and you could hear that smell of, oh, because I've not really been around cars much, so, you know, I've not spent a lot of time around cars. This isn't an engine oil, it's a 3-in-1 oil smell. Now, that's done. So that's that bit, quite simple. Next we have to attach the steering column into the cylindrical end. So you have a flange end here, and you have a cylindrical end, but it's got a D shape to it. And of course there's a D shape here. So that's just going to sit in there like That will just sit in there like that, I think. Yes, it's a bit of a tight fit, but it will go in, and it'll force it in when we screw it in anyway. It's a bit wobbly, but that sits in there, and we need a CM type screw. Yes. There we go. Now, if you are wanting to get yourself some oil and things like that, I can tell you, I have in my Amazon store, as well as this screwdriver set, I have also added, or I will add very shortly, the 3-in-1 oil that I use. Doesn't really matter what one you use though. The 3-in-1 oil and the little pots that I use for the oil, because they're like little food pots, little pots for sauce and food, and they're quite cool. Right, so that isn't all the way in, but I assume that's in the right amount. I don't know. It's hard to. It's not screwing down anymore. There is a little tiny gap there. You're on camera, dear. But I assume that's as far as it's going to go. It won't thread any further. Not pulling the steering column up anymore, because normally if it was a bit loose it would just pull the steering column up, but it's not. But that's in. That's not coming anywhere. That's locked in place. There we go. Press the steering wheel hub cover into the centre of the spokes, ensuring that it's positioned the same way as is shown in the illustration. So the steering hub cover is here in this little tiny baggie. So I'm going to be very careful with this. Now these are little, I like the fact these little Ziploc sort of food bags. I've been slicing them open with my knife, but you don't want to do that because there's other little tiny parts in here. So what I'm going to do is try and get out the one part I need. Why don't I just put these into here like that? We use our little tidy place. There we go. Yeah, I like the fact with this you're getting little lockable bags and not just plastic things you have to cut with a knife, because it does mean you can reuse them. We have some tweezerlings. Now this just needs to sit over the hub, and it needs to sit nice and lined up. This is where it all goes wrong now, because there's no chance I'm going to get this straight or lined up. You know it. You know it. Yes, almost. It's almost straight. It'll probably come out again. I can probably rotate it round, but I think for now I'll take what I can get. I'll take what I can get. I'll just get some of that schmuck. There's a bit of oil on there, so let me just wipe that off. I think that's as close as I'm going to get to straight. I'm quite happy with that. There we go. You could actually drive with that. It's quite heavy. It's all metal. Yeah, cars don't make that noise, folks. Right, so that's the steering wheel done. Next, we have to assemblate the wheel. And it shows this in just like almost one step. So we have tyre. Let's get the bits. We have the tyre. That steering wheel there out of the way. Look at the front left tyre 2E. On side you'll see the word inside written. On the other the word outside. Oh yeah, that says inside. Do on camera. That says inside. It says outside. So it says insert the tyre valve 2G into its slot on the outside rim. Okay, so that's inside. We have two rims. We have the hub, and we have the valve, pressure valve. There, tiny piece. So this is the outside rim. So the outside rim has a little slot for the valve. It is there. Tyre valve goes in here. Tiny little detail. I can smell that tyre. And a little detail there on the pressure valve. So that's going to be the out, because that's the outside rim. So clearly we want the word outside. Do actual tyres have that? I don't think real tyres have that. I don't know. That sits on there like that. This is seriously weighty goodness. This is some heavy shizzle. This is not lightweight. But that sits there, all smelling. Oh, what's that? Hang on. What's that? This smells exactly... Okay. This is going to sound really weird. That's outside, there we go. But in the 1970s Star Wars figures, I'm going to line up the valve with the Continental logo, I think. Years of detailing have always taught me to line things up, so yeah. I'll line up the valve with the Continental logo. Have a look. 265/45 R1391V. There we go. Yeah, the smell of this central metal bit, for some reason, I don't know why, but in the 70s, Star Wars figures were just plastic figures, but occasionally you get one of them that have a weird smell. Now this needs to line up, that little notch there, that's not on camera, needs to line up with the valve. So it says to make sure these are all lined up before you screw everything into place. But yeah, so they all had they didn't smell of anything, but Boba Fett, for some reason, I think there was another figure as well that was similar, but Boba Fett had a different smell. The plastic they used to make Boba Fett just smelled different. And I don't know why, I don't know how, but he just did. He just smelled very different. How's this going together now? This... what? Screw holes on the two rings before pressing them firmly into place. Oh, I see. There we go. There's a little notch cut out for the valve, which should then mean you're lining up the screw holes, I hope. Yeah, so Boba Fett, for some reason, just smelled different. There we go. You use the little valve as a guide for your screw holes, and hopefully, if you're lucky, it'll all be lined up. And it doesn't say on that page which screws to use. I've got to turn the page over now without letting go of this. Oh, fudge. Yeah, so Boba Fett, for some reason, the Boba Fett figure smelled weird, and that's exactly what that smells like. I want some HM screws. HM screws, HM. Well, I've got to try and not drop this now because it's going to fall apart at any moment's notice. One screw. I've got to... Oh, hang on. I can't do this easily. HM screw. I'm also probably not on camera. Oil. Tiny amount. Just need the tiniest amount of oil. Screw that one in. Yeah, so it smells exactly like that screw's not going in. Okay, that's not lined up. It's not lined up at all. Nope, that's not lined up at all. Okay. What's going on here? Tricky time. Right, there are two... Let's figure this out. Let's brain this. Let's science this. That goes there. There's two pegs sticking up. There's two recessed holes, which are there, and you've got these two holes here, there, and there. They need to go there. There's a little notch for the valve. That seems to be lined up, but it might not. Let's try again. So anyway, yes, long circuitous story. It smells very, very similar, or in fact exactly the same as the old Boba Fett figure. That was it must have just been like a different paint or a different plastic or something. It just had this kind of weird, not spicy, but a weird kind of chemically smell. It's hard to explain. That screw does not want to go in. Let's try the other one first. Pick up another one. There we go. HM screw. Try the other one first. We'll get that one last. Yeah. Exactly what it smells like. Is that going in? Oh, again, this one's... Oh, there we go. Bit of a push to push it together. That one's going in. That one is... There we go. All three of them in now. It just required a little bit of a push to get the two halves of the wheel to seat into each other. Because you do have two pegs to line up, as well as the screw holes. They're not going to tighten anymore. There you go, that's that done. A few fingerprints on there, but we can sort that out. Somehow I managed to keep the valve almost lined up with the tyre. And I spin now, I can't spin that now. Then we need the wheel hub washer, which is there. Do not press... Okay. The wheel hub washer into the centre of the outside rim. That goes in here. I hope I'm probably not on camera, am I? That goes in here like that. Now it says here, very important, it says do not press it, put the hub over it, but do not press it firmly into the wheel hub yet, as you will need to remove it later. You've got 2 pegs and a knob. We need to press that in there, but it says not to press it in all the way home. So we're just going to put it on loosely, so it doesn't fall off. Is it possible to actually put it on loosely? I don't know. There you go. It's on temporarily. Just so it doesn't fall out. We can prise that off again later. We've got spudger tools. So there we go. That's that bit done. And that actually concludes, he says, closing the lid on his oil for obvious reasons. There we go. That concludes issue 2 of the Dodge Charger. There we go. Now I say this wheel smells fantastic. This whole car is going to smell like Boba Fett, and there's something rattling in there. Oh, that'd be the washer. I was like, what's rattling? It's the washer it just put in. Yeah, so there we go. Yes, it smells fantastic. It smells of oil and Boba Fett, which is very strange. But that concludes issue 2. Now, like I said, things like these little food pots for the oil and the screwdriver set I've got, and any other bits and bobs, I'll make sure that in my Amazon stores, links to my Amazon stores are in the description below the video, so do go and check them out. Don't forget, of course, this whole thing is supplied by Fanhome.com, so do go to Fanhome.com and check them out. Maybe even think about subscribing to this yourself. I'm having a great deal of fun with this. It's going to be awesome. And don't forget, of course, if you'd like to support this channel, you can do through Patreon or by becoming a member. Either go to patreon.com/modelmakingguru, or you can click the join button under any one of my videos. That way you can help support the channel. You can literally put food on my table and allow me to keep doing this for my living. And you get access to stuff early and exclusive content. So go and check it out, become a member. Anyway, that's going to do us. I will film the next episode when I get the next 4 issues. So stay tuned in the coming weeks for issues 3, 4, 5 and 6. Until then, I shall say once again, massive, massive thank you to the guys at Fanhome. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. And until next time, adios amoebas.